Okay, hello everyone. This is Victor Mama from Excel Moments, and in this video, I want to talk about an Excel oddity with true false being translated into 1-0. Wherever you go and in whatever technical documentation you review, you would see them refer to true false as 1-0. This video just goes to make the point that doesn't always translate into 1-0. I'll tell you what it translates to with a few examples. So let's get into it. Okay, so this is my first example here using the VLookup function. What I'm trying to do is to assign grades to these scores that you have here, right? Using this lookup table over here. So what this means is that any score between 0 and 39 will be an F, any between 40 and 44 will be an E, and so on. Okay, you know that if I'm going to use the VLookup for this, I can't use an exact match, right? Because if I use an exact match, it means 25 will not be found, for example, because 25 does not appear in my lookup table. So I would use an approximate match. So what Excel would do is it will look for 25, and if it doesn't find it, it looks for the largest number in the lookup table that is just smaller than 25. So if it looks for 25, it would find it somewhere between 0 and 40. But since it doesn't find it exactly, it will default to what? 0. And 0 translates to what? An F. So that's kind of how it works. But this is not a VLookup video. So we just want to see what happens when we use an approximate match, which means, true in VLookup. Okay, so look at VLookup. The VLookup has 4 arguments, right? I'm interested in the last one, the range lookup. But let's build the VLookup. The first thing is the lookup value. So I'm looking up this value, right? Okay, right. My table array, this is my lookup table. I'm just going to select this, make it absolute. Now, column index, I'm returning the second column. That's where I have my grades, okay? And then my range lookup, you can see it clearly here, right? True for approximate match, false for exact match. So what I want to do here is I want to test, true and 1 and some other values, okay? So I'm going to select this true here, right? And I'm going to write it in such a way that it can move from left to right, but it doesn't move from top to bottom, okay? So that's it. So this is referencing the true here. Good. Okay, so that's my F. And then fill right, and then fill down. Now, what do you notice? You can see here, I'm using a 1 in place of true. You expect the answers to be exactly the same, and that's it. And when you look here, look at this, where I use 1.5. And look here where I use minus 100 as my, range lookup in place of true. What do you notice? All the answers are exactly the same. So irrespective of what I use, whether true, 1, 1.5, a negative number, a non-integer, a big positive integer, I still get the same answer. It shows you that true doesn't necessarily mean 1. True in Excel or in the context of formulas when you ask for true false means any non-zero number. So anything other than 0 is considered to be true. Okay, so not just 1 and something to note, right? But in case the point isn't so clear here, let's look at a second example, which is TextJoin. Okay, you know what TextJoin does, right? TextJoin just allows you to concatenate, a couple of strings, text, or values together, and you can use a delimiter. Okay, so when you concatenate, it's possible you have some blank cells. You may want to ignore or not ignore them. So the TextJoin has an argument, the second argument, that allows you to either ignore or not ignore, blanks. So let me show you that. Let's do a TextJoin. Okay, we want to use a comma. Let's say I want to, my delimiter to be a comma. Okay, now the next thing is asking me true means ignore empty cells, false means include empty cells. So what I want to do is instead of picking true, false here, I'm going to point to the values I have here that I want to test. Okay, right? So this will use false, this will use 0, this will use true, and so on. Okay, and now in the data to concatenate, I'm going to select and include, some blanks at the end. Make this absolute, right? And then we'll take this down. Right, so what do you notice? False and 0 give you exactly the same thing. And because false means do not ignore empty cells, you can see that these 3 empty cells here are the reasons why you have those 3 commas at the end, right? Okay, now what you then see with the true, you can see that every other thing gives you exactly the same response. So whether you use true or 1, minus 10, 50, or even you change this to, you still get exactly the same answer. So I guess the point has been, you know, sufficiently made, right? I consider it an oddity because, I mean, everybody believes true false is 1 0, but as you can see, you know, true means any non-zero number. So any non-zero takes the place of true. This could be good, you know, and bad, okay? But sometimes, you know, you can always take advantage of it to, you know, create something interesting. Now, the next tab, which is called conditional format, I'm going to use that to my advantage. Okay, so this is just like my employee database. Okay, and you can see the names, maybe when they were hired, department, you know, their gender and their age. What I want to do here is, my end goal really is to conditionally format, you know, highlight any roles that have either a female who is 50 above 50 years of age. I want to have that highlighted. So notice I said an or. So the person is either a female or, you know, greater than 50 years of age, not and, so or. Okay, so if I were to do it in a formula context, I could do this. I'll test first of all. You know, if I want to test the gender, I could do something like this, right? Okay, I say, is this person female? Huh? So this is going to give me true, false, right? That's what it is. So if it says false, it means the person is not a female. Now, because I'm doing an or, and I want to also test that the person is above 50 years, I will use a plus, right? Not a multiplication. Multiplication would say an and, meaning that both criteria must be satisfied. This one is saying one of them, you know, is sufficient, okay? So the next thing, I'll test the age, right? Okay, and I'll test if the age is greater than 50. Okay, so once you see a 0, 0 means that none of the criteria was passed, right? It means this person is not a female and the person is not up to 50 years. 1 means that one of them was fulfilled. So it's either the person is a female or less than 50 years, or the person is above 50 years and, you know, not a female, right? 2 means both of them, you know, were both criteria were passed. Okay, so now what most people would do at this stage is, if you want to take this into conditional formatting, you want this expression to either give you a true or a false, you know, or, you know, a 1 and 0. Okay, so it means I would have to add, you know, an extra step of saying maybe greater than 0 so that I can get true for those ones that are not 0, and then the 0 will be false. But because true means anything but 0, it means that the 1 and 2 in this case, you know, would work as true, while 0 will be false. So the implication is that I can take this expression as is into conditional formatting. Okay, so let's go to conditional formatting. You know, Alt-OD, right? You do new rule, you choose to use a formula. I can paste that in here. Then I go to my format, and from my format, I go to field. Let's say I use a green field. I go to font and I use a white font. Okay, I do OK, apply. Okay, and as you can see, that even though I wrote the expression, you know, without necessarily giving me 1 and 0, you know, or true and false, I'm still able to get it to work. Okay, so even the official documentation says conditional formatting, you know, true, false, 1, 0. But as you can see, once it's non-zero, it's considered a true. You know, this could be risky in some instances, but it's really just to make the points, right? That's the whole essence of this video and the whole essence of this example. You know, that sometimes some things we've always thought were in a certain way, or we've always known as, you know, being this way, as something different. You know, everybody will tell you that true, false is 1, 0. I mean, that's what we say everywhere. But as you can see, that's not necessarily true. 0 is 0, but true is any non-zero number. And it doesn't have to be an integer. It doesn't have to be positive. Once it's non-zero, it's considered to be a true. Like I said, for this example, maybe this could work. In some other examples, it could be, you know, risky to use it. But it's always good to know that, you know, this exists. And sometimes you may be able to use it to your advantage. So that's what I thought to share in this video. I've put up a LinkedIn article on this. I'm going to use this also in another video on the filter function. Okay, so I'm going to take advantage of this oddity and use it in the filter function. So you have to watch out for that video. That's going to be my next video. Okay, so for now, I would say that just hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. You can give comments, feedback. This is always, you know, very much appreciated. Okay, till I come your way with the filter function, I would say for now, I'm out.